In a previous session, being the one just previous to 2009, we did utilize general revenue for some of those funding mechanisms, but because the stimulus funds were available, that GR was taken and used in another area of the budget to fund, and instead stimulus funds were used in its place.
That's right.
in certain articles. So without sounding pejorative, but I can't find another word, did we punish those that we swept their GR from last session because we used stimulus funds instead to fund them?
This budget does not replace those federal stimulus dollars.
So basically, if GR had been used in 07, 08 budgets, but in 09, because stimulus funds were available, we took their GR and used it elsewhere, then they're just kind of SOL? I'm out of luck, I mean?
There are a number of places in this budget before you now where things were funded with ARRA in 2010 and 11, where we did not replace it with GR. So yes, they're starting off at a deficit.
Okay. A question, Mr. O'Brien. Medicaid, you stated, is a program that we would have to pay for. However, with some of the programs, it is possible that based on the funding levels in meeting maintenance of effort requirements as well as maintenance of finance requirements, if we do not fund them in this budget, we have potentially not met a requirement under federal law, public law, that jeopardizes our ability to receive those funds in the next year from the federal government and for the program to be approved.
For certain non-medicated services, yes, ma'am.
Was it unintentional that some of the programs were funded to levels that could jeopardize them in that way?
No.
It was not unintentional?
No, we tried to protect federal funding as best we could, but in some cases we had to make funding recommendations where we knew we would suffer a penalty from the federal government. And
not only a penalty, but potentially no longer being allowed to have such programs in the state?
Well, I don't think we have situations like that, but as our staff lays out recommendations in the Health and Human Services subcommittee, we'll go over every one of those instances so that you'll be clear as to in which cases we run the risk of suffering loss of federal funds.
Okay, so that if we did run across one, it was not intended, and we would probably want to reconsider that.
You certainly could, yes.
Members, let me just expand on what John has said about the ARRA funds. We were looking at making massive cuts last session, and the ARRA funds came in, and if we would not have had those ARRA funds, we would have been making those cuts. And so we used those funds in our where we would have used general revenue if we would have had it, but we didn't have it. And also, when we took the ARRA funds, it was a requirement that the governor had to promise that if we got it, we'd spend it, and so we had to spend it.